So I want to switch gears a little bit. I also might bring my producer into this. So Mike, if you're listening, look alive. So I am not, I don't use dating apps. I'm not on the market. However, I'm so fascinated by them. And when they make changes to like entice users, like I'm always like very curious what those changes are. Well, Tinder is testing letting users set a height preference. So Tinder is testing out this feature that lets paid subscribers add height preferences to their profile. So it will not be a hard filter. Rather, the setting will indicate a preference, and that means it won't actually block or exclude profiles with that height preference, but that height preference, if they add it, will inform what kind of recommendations you see when swiping. So this is one of the ways that we already know that dating apps inform people's preferences. As TechCrunch puts it, it is not uncommon to come across profiles where women state they're only looking for matches who are at least 6 feet tall, for instance, even if in real life they would be more flexible about this requirement. So I will say we've talked a bit about this on the podcast before. It's not just about height. Like we did an episode with sociologist and author of the book Not My Type, Automating Sexual Racism in Online Dating, Dr. April Williams. And she has an entire body of research about this when it comes to race. She found in her research that dating apps oftentimes are not just like reflecting our biases, but they're actually reinforcing our biases. And it makes me wonder if dating apps are also doing this thing, the same thing with height. And I actually did want to, I don't want to put anybody on the spot here, but I think we have a short, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
how do you, Mike,
I'm a shorter
Mike,
guy.
How do you identify?
I'm a shorter guy. I am 5'6" and change. I will own that. It's who I am. And you know, a few years ago, I was on the dating apps, and yeah, there were a lot of women who would put in their profiles, you know, only men 6 feet or above, or whatever their arbitrary threshold was, and that's fine. Like I have zero interest in dating a woman who would put that in her dating profile. I wish her luck. I think there's a lot of women out there who probably would prefer a taller guy, but maybe they're open to a shorter guy. Great. That's, you know, a more appropriate woman for me. So that's fine. I don't know. I feel like there's already a bit of an auto filter. So yeah, they're gonna put it in their profile. I would put my height in my profile just to like skip that whole song and dance. So I don't know that this is gonna be like the magic bullet that saves Tinder, but you know, let them try.
Yeah, I don't think so, because also for Hinge, you automatically have your height on there.
Right.
So you can pay to filter that, I believe. I mean, you're not going to find me paying for a dating app. Like, that is ridiculous, in my opinion. Sorry. Just like I can't. But it is already a thing. So I don't know how they're so late to this feature. Like, I feel like it's like we're going back to, I don't know, 2015. Like, where have you been in terms of Tinder?
So this is what I think too, and this is what I found like almost a little offensive about the story. In the TechCrunch piece on this, they say the company may hope that the addition of a height setting could encourage more women to use and pay for the app, which tends to be heavily dominated by men in both the US and internationally. So this to me, I think really says it all. Like, it seems to suggest that women, like what women really want is the ability to weed people out by height. And that's what women are willing to pay for. When in reality, I think the reason why dating apps are in trouble and that like women don't want to use them is because they're not serving up women or really anybody good experiences. And they're not serving up good experiences for anybody, men either. And so the people designing these apps, like if that's what they think will meaningfully woo women into paying for Tinder Premium, I think that perhaps that gives us insight into like why women are not paying for Tinder Premium or using these apps at all, because I just don't think that they really are functionally understanding what it is that women want, or like how to give women dating experiences that don't feel so bad. Also, I have to say, Mike, when we were talking about this before we got on the mic, you were like, oh, well, we have data that suggests that men are just lying about their heights on dating profiles. So
Right,
it wouldn't
like-
even work.
Oh, it's true.
You're both women, so I'm curious if you've ever experienced this
Yeah.
phenomenon of a man lying.
Oh, well, first of all, that, right? Like, just cut and clip. But second to that, I mean, like when you go on Hinge, for example, and the guy says 5'10", that he's 5'8", you have to subtract 2 inches from any height.
Sammy, it is
It's-
so funny that you say this, because according to OkCupid, who published this data, they say that is exactly the amount that men are adding. So they're suspiciously adding 2 inches taller to their height. So when if a man says 5'8", you got to take 2 off of that, because that's the lie.
Mhm.
And what I feel like is like, okay, 1 inch, I'll give you that. 2, that's a little much.
They think that they can get away with it if they're wearing a hat. They're like, oh, like, see, it's like that hat, like that's the extra inch there. And
He
then,
shows
ooh,
up
yeah.
in platform boots and a stovetop hat. What is it? What are the Abraham Lincoln hats? Yeah, like a top hat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he just has to wear that for the rest of the relationship. Like, he wears it to bed, he wears it to work.
Amazing,
Honestly,
amazing.
at least he'd have a sense of humor. You'd be like, wow, bringing something to the table. Live SNL, you know?
Yeah, as a tall woman, I'm 5'11" and a half. In any kind of shoe, I'm 6 feet. When the short period that I was on dating apps, I did put my height in my profile, because I mean maybe I'm biased. I feel like the sort of, height wars stuff is like a little overblown, and I never found anybody who had an issue with my height. But Mike, similar to you, I didn't want to be on a date with somebody who would like not want to be with someone who was 6 feet tall. But again, I do think it just suggests to me that the people who make dating apps are just not really thinking too hard or thoughtfully about the kinds of experiences they're trying to curate for people. And I think that is the root of the problem as to why they're in trouble. These little gimmicks about height or whatever, not only, Sammy, as you said, are they like out of 2015 or something, they're very late, but I just don't think they're what is going to save these platforms. I think they need to really be thinking about like how to improve experiences in a more meaningful way.